Pleasant good day to the Honorable Judge Alfonso Charles and all assembled. Every morning that I report to work, before I get dressed, this is my prayer. Father God, please keep me and my co-workers awake, alert, aware, and attentive. Also pray that you will keep us from accidents and incidents. Lord, please keep us from hurt, harm, and danger. Then I personalize my prayer. Help me to treat each rider as I would want to be treated. As we look at what happened on this particular day, I stood with two other drivers that morning conversing. I noticed their assailant confronting another rider at the transit center. I asked my coworkers, do you think they are playing or serious? The assailant became more aggressive with a gentleman that just stood at attention as though he was taking orders from an angry commander. We dispersed our individual buses to commence the driving. The man that was victimized passed by my bus. I told him, you are a heck of a man. He threw his hands up and gave thanks to God. I immediately prayed for him. Then I said, God, help me to be that humble. Well, later that day, I had my turn. The assailant boarded my bus. He put a $5 bill in the fare box, then looked at me and said, I want to ride around. At that point, I began to pay special attention to him as he was acting unusual. Just after we pulled off, a lady started choking. The assailant hollered out, this lady is sick. I asked the lady, are you okay? She said that she was going to Good Shepherd Hospital. I told her to take the wastebasket. The assailant grabbed the wastebasket and began assisting the lady in a compassionate way. At this point, the assailant appeared to be a gentleman. When we arrived at the hospital, the lady disembarked. Once I pulled off, the assailant appeared very agitated and less compassionate. He changed his behavior drastically. He began standing, shaking his head covering. I asked him to be seated. He did briefly, but he was blurting out obscenities, harassing other passengers. I pulled over several times and asked him to stop being disorderly. I called for help from base. I was told that I had to call the police myself because no one was in the office. Finally, as I approached 80 and the spur, I saw an officer in his unit and I got excited. I honked the horn repeatedly. Then I also opened the window waving for help. The officer told me he was on call, yet he had no sirens on. At this point, the assailant is extremely angry, standing next to me cursing. He said, you thought that they would help you, using very harsh obscenities. He was very enraged at this point. I just prayed to get back to the transit center safely. As I was approaching Mobley on Melton, the assailant pulled a knife out. I slowly released my belt, applying the brake. I was holding the wheel with my left hand. The assailant attempted to strike me with the knife. He went for my neck area. I grabbed his wrist. We tussled. A lady in the rear of the bus hollered out, help the bus driver. A gentleman rushed up to grab the assailant, wrapped him up, told me to open the door. He shoved the assailant out. I shut the door. The assailant tried to pull the door open. Once the intersection was clear, I pulled off. Once I arrived at the transit center, I made contact with the police officers that were present, informed them where the assailant was put out. They went to the location. They did not see him. I made a police report at the end of my shift. I followed up the next day at the police department. I made several calls and trips to the police station. The detective assigned to the case did not follow up with me. Well, I say my witness is in heaven and my record is on high. Judge Charles, thank you for allowing me to share this unsettling experience. I'd like to also add that this has been very unsettling for my family and certainly to me. But I thank God through prayer that I'm getting through it, and I do forgive the assailant.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you, Judge.
Judge, I believe I've talked to the court about a letter that Mr. Pittman wrote. Would you like to address that at this point in time or after sentencing?
I'll go ahead and allow me to address it at this time.
Your Honor, I want to tell the court that I'm very sorry for my actions that I did today. I understand that I scared not only the driver, but also the other passengers who were trying to get to their destinations. I am truly remorseful. I plan to use my time in prison to rehabilitate myself and become a better person. I have battled with substance abuse for a long time. I know it's not an excuse for what I did, but I am committed to working through these issues while I am incarcerated, so I'll never have to return to the court again.